Ladies and gentlemen, Star Wars StoryTeller. 49,847 reads, 551 votes, 26 parts, a estimated read time of 12 hours, 11 minutes, from a humble man known as Shadow Trooper. To think that this story would be anything more than what we thought it would be. To think that this story would come from another Star Wars reacting to the Fallout Storyteller fanfic. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to say that we're here with the author himself and the other two sons of bitches who basically helped make this thing possible. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Star Wars Storyteller After Party. It is your host, AirsoftAL.
And Anderfell.
And I am the Shadow Trooper, also known as Merc.
I'm Crimson. We're Sloth.
So, before we go any further, yes, Crimson Weresoft, for many of you who remember his after party for his Star Wars Storyteller, is kind of the reason why Merc here was able to do this. So let's just go ahead and kind of get set a timeline of how this kind of got started. So Merc, walk us and the audience through what led up to this fanfiction being made in the first place.
Okay, so it was when Crimson was still doing his, or it was halfway through his thing of, he's with I think it was spoilers for if you didn't read his version. When Palpatine got FEV, I think it was then where I thought, you know what, I'll take a jab at this. And that is when I decided to go through and make my version, but I decided, you know what, just so it feels different, I'm going to include visuals.
Which was fair.
Yeah. And another thing that I decided to do was I noticed how his was like, it was more of a comedic, over-the-top take at times.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair to say.
That's fair.
So basically, I decided I'm going to take a more serious approach, but also, and for a while, it was a serious approach. It was one that I would discuss ideas with and kind of work to try and make everyone feel proper. I also decided to, after a bit, thin down the reactions to one or two groups, which admittedly made the story feel different.
It really did.
And yeah.
And then, of course, obviously, everyone's going to wonder, how did you get involved with us? I think either I or you contacted each other after, I believe it was after the vaults, wasn't it?
I think it was. Okay, I believe there was a comment you left.
Let's see.
Let me. Yeah, I'm just. Okay, so. Okay, I believe it was Super Mutants where you first. Okay, it was sometime close. Maybe it was the Brotherhood.
Either way, that's how we kind of got involved. And then, of course, obviously, Anderfell, who was also on Crimson's version, got involved, and then Crimson Weresoft got involved. And this is where a lot of people have some people have actually made the correlation and kind of been like, hey, is this Crimson's version? Are you copying Crimson? Are you wanting to do different? It was definitely a massive dichotomy between your version and Crimson's version.
Yeah.
I would say that we have some similarities, but also enough differences that we can compen- ah,
Compensate.
confidently say that they're
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. While yours has the characters slowly become, I don't want to be mean, but you kind of flanderized a few characters
Aware.
over the course,
I know.
and I tried to avoid that, especially with, and I think some people took notice to the similarities just due to the fact that it's essentially the same people writing this, doing some of the reactions.
Yeah.
Of course, I didn't make Palpatine as evil,
You
and
can make that department in the dirt on the character. Directors are both of us.
yeah.
But we also have different characters doing the reactions as well.
Yeah, I tried to give a fair number of characters, and okay, I just am saying this. I feel like the biggest change between yours and mine in terms of how it's presented is the fact that my AIs are essentially people from the wasteland who will remember themselves.
Well, my AIs still have some memories. After all, may I remind you that Beth had a panic attack?
Yep, much like how I had a character have a panic attack.
Yeah, so they still
I
have
think
memories.
okay, so I think it's more like they had their personality, but they didn't have their memory, and then they got their memory.
Bruh, yours had their personalities, but not fully their memories, while my characters still have their memories.
Yeah,
Which, oh boy, the next batch.
So, aside from the obvious dichotomy between yours and Crimson's story, uh, something else I've got to ask you, Merc, is the fact of you had us go a more subtle route over Crimson's, taking a quote from Bennett the Sage, shotgun colonoscopy route.
I tried to not have a lot of big changes occur at once. Kind of just ease everything in.
You know,
And,
fair enough. But you also have to deal with these two trying to make me do um try to force me to do a major Americana revolution too quickly. You kind of have to learn how to deal with the punches.
Yeah, and I think it kind of helped that I had a little bit of experience with them while working with Gate Wasteland.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, here's the thing, folks. I don't know if we've said this in Crimson's after party special, but Crimson here wanted to go full on, just ham left field, just dark.
He wanted, yeah, he wanted to take the train and run it through the orphanage.
Okay, I wouldn't go that far.
Cackling
wanted-
all the way.
Motherfucker, we can bring up. Do you want me to bring up fucking Mandalore? Your plans for Mandalore? I'll happily bring up. You know what? Never mind. No, we're just gonna move the hell on.
Yep, moving along.
We're gonna move on to the next bit, which of course is, and this has been kind of a big one, is the fact of, while your two stories are similar, i.e., uh, the galaxy getting Fallout, or like basically Fallout technology,
All out technology.
The Mandalorian Rangers, the Padme and Anakin's relationship taking a change, but the big one is your character, like the way the characters have changed, especially a few of them. One of them being,
Yeah.
of course, the main character himself, the guy who hates sand, the guy who would have turned into Daddy Darth Vader, dude with anger
now
issues, Anakin Skywalker, does not have the high ground. Merc, why don't you kind of explain to the audience what your version of Anakin is versus Crimson's?
Okay, so with my version of Anakin, I decided semi early on, and I made this comparison, which was discussed and led to this idea forming, that Anakin would have ended up, if he was not found by the Jedi, he would have eventually have been found to be a relatively competent engineer and, well, a relatively competent engineer at the minimum, and as he got older, he would have been essentially a prized engineer and eventually possibly even a prized pilot by the Hutts. Because, let's face it, he built his own pod racer.
And knew how to drive.
Yeah, and knew how to drive it. So, I thought, you know what? I think I had the idea that, oh, Anakin can basically be a Mr. House. And then that just kind of evolved.
That is one of their biggest differences. You're Anakin becoming a businessman, and well, you guys, the audience have to wait for what's gonna happen to Anakin. But I'll tell you three once this interview is done.
I'm guessing that Anakin becomes a dictator of the wasteland.
No,
Why don't we believe you?
honestly, it's not.
Dude, never mind. No, we're gonna move on to the
Yep,
next
moving
character.
on.
So the next character, of course, is none other than Padme. Holy crap! Her scream can literally break the interdimensional walls. Amidala Skywalker.
Which I still feel is absolutely funny that apparently she knows the Alucard of the Star Wars universe, and we haven't expanded on that once. That was a one-off joke that we are still not expanding upon.
Okay,
Good.
so the differences between your version, Merc, and Crimson's version of Padme Amidala Skywalker.
Is less insanity, first off.
Well, to be fair, yours takes place earlier in the war. Mine took place in the middle when everything is going to shit and she just lost her best friend.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
But let's face it, she did lose a very good friend at the beginning of the war, too.
True.
She just does not have luck with friends.
No, she does not.
No, she does not.
Okay, so as for the change that we have with Padme, she is now essentially leading an effort into trying to find Earth and trying to help and essentially being a very, very active leader in peace talks.
Which that actually leads us into the next character, one that not a lot of people have expanded on. Some have, some haven't. The separatist MILF herself,
Mina Bonteri.
Thank you, Mina Bonteri. Thank you, Merc. And while she may not be in Crimson's version because she's kind of
Dead.
well, dead, in
To
your
be fair-
version, she is very much so alive. And you want to kind of talk us and the audience through how her character has changed and how just the Separatist and the Republic has changed and sort of the dichotomy of the galaxy as a whole has changed in your version of the story.
Okay, so I'm going to be very straightforward. The way that the current war, in terms of how it has changed, is the Separatists are no longer launching any offensives. They are more or less holding their own positions. So essentially after the Malevolence arc, they have essentially all but halted any big advances into any reaches, because they realize, hey, we can hold ground forever, but we cannot. But launching the constant campaigns, that is just going to be our slow death.
Which is kind of ironic considering that Grievous is still in charge.
Oh, that's another
Yes,
thing, is the fact of when
Grievous is
you're...
on a very tight leash.
Yeah.
Also, I am not doing the two Grievous theory, which
Yeah, I
I
know.
still have no idea where that came from.
Okay,
It
so
came from-
basically...
It
So-
came from the 40k Star Wars thing.
Yeah, so basically
Different basket of worms entirely.
The Separatists are basically on a holding pattern. It is a... We've gained enough ground that we wanted. We are now holding that ground. We're not advancing. We're not falling back. We're just holding.
The Republic is still attempting to fight the war as it was, with now power armor, which I dub the clone heavy armor.
Which, for those who have not been smart enough or really, and I'm not joking on this, a lot of you have asked me, what's the clone heavy armor? It's the T-51.
It is in the first paragraph
How do you people
of
miss
that chapter.
How do you people miss that?
Literally, the first sentence is the 501st was the first to get to try out the newly created power clone armor.
Anyway, so the big one though is that the Republic is changing, but not just the Republic. Much like in Crimson and your version of the story, and your version, the Mandalorians have changed into, of course, the Mandalorian Rangers. But the way your version did versus his, versus his, is drastically different and more dramatic than anything
Yeah.
else.
Because okay, this is the biggest change that I kind of liked that I made to make mine different from Crimson's. With
I agree with that. That yours is actually a really good change compared to mine.
with Mandalore itself, I have Satine. I have essentially Mandalore in general being influenced to slowly be willing to become a defend. They are slowly reviving their old ways. They are bring they are bringing the true Mandalorian way back. Because, and this took a long time for me to think of and work out, I decided to change Merrick. If you do not remember who Merrick was, that is because he features in a grand total of 3 episodes of the Clone Wars. And he dies, and one of them is a non-voice line, another one he says another line, and the third one he is a villain. But most of the focus is, hey, it's Obi-Wan and Satine trying to figure out their frickin' relationship.
It also doesn't help that he's one of the many people Anakin stabbed.
He was the first person that Anakin stabbed in the back. I think.
And I'm pretty sure he isn't.
Moving on, gentlemen.
Yep. Essentially, Merrick was changed from essentially just an antagonist to have a deeper backstory. He was a survivor of the Clan Wars, which was essentially the Mandalorian Civil War before the Clone Wars that spawned people like Jango Fett, Pre Vizsla. And Merrick was a survivor. So he went from being essentially just a named villain, to a character who had a reason to be cautious. He was the advisor that gave Satine essentially ideas of how to reform, how to bring in those of the true Mandalorians.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, with, I'm pretty sure it was the chapter involving, and eventually, well, Bo-Katan gets involved. And we get the Mandalorian trifecta, the three original Rangers.
Mm-hmm. And each one of them, and this is something people have kind of asked, is are they, as Film Brain would say, symbolism among them?
Give me a second.
More symbolism with Mercs than mine.
Well, I'm saying with Merc because with Satine, Bo, and Merrick, Merrick is the old guard of Mandalore. The
I
veteran.
had a little table made.
Oh,
I just gotta find it. A little bit too early
Anyway,
because we did figure it out.
yeah.
The three Rangers were essentially the three trifecta. We we even had special titles for them. With Merrick being the strategist, he essentially would plan everything out. Bo-Katan was the warrior. She would lead from the front. While Satine, she was the chief. She led all.
Mm-hmm.
She is essentially becoming the next Mandalore.
Mm-hmm.
Even though she lacks the Darksaber.
Yeah, which I will say this now. While yes, Merrick early on seemed like an old Mandalorian who doesn't really seem like to have that much of a fight in it, that changed when Mandalorian Rangers started showing up in your story on the frontier planets, and then you went full on Dirty Harry.
That was you who came up with that.
I
yeah.
know, and I still love it. But no, seriously though, folks, that's the one thing I think I want to share with you guys is that the way I pitched this to Merc this way is I see Merrick as like a lot of Clint Eastwood's characters, where they're older men, but just because they're old does not mean that they are not dangerous. And
Yeah.
chief inspiration, aside from of course Dirty Harry, was Charles Heston's Death Wish. His character.
Movie I haven't seen, but that was Death Race.
Yeah, Death Wish is the 4-movie series that. Oh my god.
Starring Dirty Dozen famous Charles Bronson.
Charles Bronson, that's who it was. Good lord, why did I say Heston? Actually, no. Charles Heston is also another one I actually inspired. That actually inspired Merrick's character as well. But moving on, the big thing though with the Mandalorians is that aside, of course, from a lot of what is seen, and of course certain characters whom we shall not talk about, because if we do talk about, we will be going down a
We
rabbit
will be
hole.
here forever.
Yes, but moving on, of course, to the big thing. The big meat of it is those that have affected the characters, or like other characters who have been changed drastically because of the shift in the war, and some of the stuff they've been given. One of them being one that we on the writing team, me, Ander, Crimson, have no fucking clue about, and Merc is being tight-lipped about it, is of course Barriss. Barriss, for those of you who don't know, between Crimson Stories and Merc's, seems to be that one character that is easily swayed to one ideology or another. In Crimson's case, she's being swayed to religion. And yes, religion does play a role in Merc's story, but we'll get to that in a second. But in Merc's version, she is
being influenced by one of the AIs.
which we
The
will
one that
get
happened
to.
to end up with a Jedi.
We will get to those AIs, I promise you, folks. But Barriss, throughout your story, Merc, has been somewhat swayed by this one AI, and then is now, from what we've seen, fully in this AI's pocket, thanks to, of course, the mudball of a planet that is nothing but basically Warhammer 40k in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
And then we get introduced to one of Anders' favorite characters so far.
I really wouldn't call him my favorite character.
You had fun
Or you-
writing him.
But which one are you talking about? Because I write for a multitude of characters.
The one you turned into Jedi Alexander fucking Anderson.
Oh.
Quinlan Voss, I believe.
Yes, Quinlan Voss. Quinlan Voss, the Jedi who we never suspect to find freaking religion, but by the religious chapter, he found it.
Along with 2 others.
Yes, Shakti and Luminara.
And how did he know Heinkel's name?
Oh, that's
Is he a reincarnation of Alexander Anderson?
No,
Who
there happened to be a
knows?
Jedi Padawan named Heinkel.
Don't listen to Merc. That's just that's just his a reasonable explanation. We know what the truth is.
We just need to figure out who the heck is going to become Alucard. I feel like it's the guy who's on the trash planet.
Oh my god.
Cal Kestis?
Nope.
Moving on.
But no, that's the big thing, is that each character so far has been very much so changed by these packages. Be it Anakin Skywalker and having his not one but 2 JonTron moments. If you don't know what I'm talking about, here's a clip. And the fact that he has a technological religious awakening when he got his Pip-Boy, his Pip-Boy, and a book on the cars.
Let's face it, Anakin is a car guy.
Oh no,
Yeah.
Anakin's just a gearhead in general.
True.
Fair.
To the CIS, literally get both the CIS and the Mandalorians getting their own stuff, but one of those things being soft drinks.
Everyone got soft drinks. It's just that Mandalore and the CIS caught the recipes.
Yeah, CIS got Nuka-Cola. Mandalore got Sunset Sass.
I will say it is pretty funny
The
that
Senate got them. I'm joking.
it's so funny that you took what I did with Ahsoka. Ahsoka and the Coca-Cola. You know, the effects on her species, not
Speaking of
Not
which,
what-
I'm just gonna say this now. We all had fun because the one chapter that everyone in both Crimson and Merc's version of this story were really excited for was Caesar's Legion. And we both did not disappoint in that aspect, as we had 2 levels of anger. Crimson's was how would I describe it? Ander,
Yeah.
how would
This
you
was pure outrage.
how would you describe Crimson's female anger?
for the Legion.
Very righteous against him.
Mm-hmm. And then we have Mercs that's a little controlled, but still pretty fucking angry.
It's more controlled, let's just say the guys had time to escape before something bad happened.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so I think this will be a good time to talk about the Jedi AI, purely because of how well it will segue in.
To the other AIs, yeah.
Yes.
So the big difference between Merc and Crimson's, but both have basically the more things change, more things stay the same type deal, is that both have AIs that
have come from the Fallout Earth.
yes, but unlike Crimson's, Merc's versions actually can move around.
To some
Yeah.
extent. They still need to have a projector. It's just they still need a projector. It's just, hey, they can mount things.
Mm-hmm.
Mine's
So you guys go ahead and describe those AIs, because I'm looking forward to hearing some behind-the-scenes stuff as well as everyone else watching this or listening to this.
should I go
Okay,
first?
so I think we should start with yours.
Okay, give me a second. I
Pulling up
thank
the document.
thank God I actually have most of my information here. Just need to get to the right one.
Pulling up
Jesus,
the document.
Jesus Christ, I need to be a little more cleany. Okay. So the first one we should talk about is the Jedi Council. Or my case, Jedi Council, yours being Jedi.
Yeah, just Jedi in general.
So I got two AIs evolving with the Jedi. This one is Korra and a currently unnamed AI for Barris. I still need to get that one in name. Shit. So the ideas for the AIs were that they were once wastelanders who were basically, for them, wrong place, wrong time. Got their brains scooped out, and their brains were basically going to rot away until the courier found them and was like, you know what? I need brains for a project, and you guys are already here. Let's make a deal.
Yeah,
So that's the origins of the AIs. They were originally brains in a jar that was in Big Mountain, then just lying around. Now, Barris one was honestly, because I haven't gotten her a name yet, I'll just say that she is referred to as the Doctor. And no, not the British one.
Hmm. Doctor Who.
God damn it. Anyways, this AI is pretty caring person, not really manipulative. Perfect suited for a easily manipulated person like Barris.
yeah.
As for Cora, well, somebody made a comment saying that she has to be originally a Great Khan for the Great Khan episode chapter a long time ago. She's not a Great Khan. She's close to a Great Khan, but not a Great Khan. And she hate politicians,
It's in everyone.
which actually explains why she kind of was biting back at Padme for a lot of things she was talking about.
As as for my story, I have a single AI for most groups.
Mm-hmm.
For the Jedi, it is Beloma, and yes, it is with an M. It is for the Legion. She is from the Legion. She, which I wanted to expand on her backstory during the Legate chapter because she is a Legate, the only female Legate. I am just saying she kind of got the Mary Sue treatment for her backstory, which I am, which I am admitting. She is, she is very much a direct person, and she very much has an agenda all of her own that she is very patient for. She is very patient and willing to wait.
Speaking of agendas, the AIs for Mandalores are radically different from each other.
Yeah.
Like, here's the biggest difference between mine and Merc's. Beth was originally planned to become a sociopath.
In my story, Blue just doesn't know anything. Blue is
Ignorant.
ignorant, but also possibly crazy at times with how she acts.
Which is fair.
She is described wearing a vault suit. We never know we don't know the number until the end. No spoilers for that though. If you're here, then I hope you enjoyed the twist.
Hehe. Let's see here. We also have the Confederacy, which both of us actually did two different ways of how the Confederacy actually found out about Terra.
Yeah.
Mine was the military commanders, and yours were the Parliament itself.
Initially, it was supposed to just be the military commanders, but it then changed. Thanks to Al and Ander helping out. They
You're
gave the
welcome.
ideas. Plus that we decided to have a short bit of devil's advocate from everyone's favorite aristocrat turned rebel,
Yep.
which hasn't been expanded upon
Which part? In this show or in our story?
in the story.
Ah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Which, oh boy, that good news is Lux coming back.
Yeah.
Now, oh boy, we'll go over the differences with our Confederacy later, but
Yeah.
next happens to be give me a second to get my reminder straight. It is right. So far, the Republic Senate from my story has not fully heard about Terra. But
It has mostly just been schemy, lightning fingers.
Creamy Sheev.
While in my story, I had very much fun with the very direct, very straightforward, but also clever AI who came from the NCR.
Well, mine was a pretty manipulative guy right there. What, you guys thought that he was being genuine to Palpatine when he was making his claim?
If anyone's genuine to Palpatine, you're screwed, because you've already failed.
What do you mean? He convinced Palpatine for resources to find Terra.
True. Very true.
The only downside is that a certain someone decided to make him a little too dark before that certain chapter comes in. I'm looking
Ander,
at you.
I think we're all looking at Ander.
Anywho. But yeah, I also did like the fact that you had Bail Organa made a big mistake during the Great Concert.
Wait, what was the mistake Bale made during the cons?
Bitter Springs.
Oh, yes, I always forget about that.
That was a big thing, actually, that not a lot of other chapters have done.
You mean
Is
a lot of other stories?
yeah, not a lot of other fan fictions have done. Is basically literally have the people involved, the actual populations involved, populist reactions. Uh,
Honestly, honestly, I, if that chapter had came out earlier, I would have also started implementing that earlier into the story.
mhm.
But no, gotta wait for season 2. Shit.
Which, speaking of which, to everyone watching and everyone listening, we've seen your comments. We've heard you. So,
There will be a season 2 from both of our stories. Calm down.
Yeah.
yes, there will be a season 2, and Ander here will hold us to it.
I mean, Andrew has been pointing the plasma pistols to our heads for a while now.
Yes. Also, another thing that I think is kind of fun that I did that is a bit different was I utilized the fact that technically the NCR does have a movie industry.
Oh, I completely forgot about that.
It is not talked about all that much.
And
I
that's something that really changed between your version and his, is the fact of you used actual movie clips from quote unquote NCR movies and not totally propaganda films. Aside from the movie industry, of course, Ander, our resident, I don't even want to know what your psychological evaluation is going to tell us, has done many a great villain, many a things. So I'm going to ask, when working on both Crimson's version of the story and Merc's, how did going between the two different types of Palpatines, how did that, how well did that work with you, having to go between the two styles of Palpatine?
Well, it worked fine. I mean, with Crimson's, can just let the psychosis flow through me. The crazier the Palpatine, the better, because Palpatine, in all honesty, is one crazy SOB.
That doesn't raise any red flags, your comment about psychosis, but okay.
As for Mercs, I let the smooth manipulator work.
The politician, basically.
Yes.
creamy
Which,
cheek.
vote for Ander, and I'll be the greatest American president of all time.
God
Oh,
damn
God.
it. Now I'm just imagining, I don't know why, now I'm just imagining Palpatine with Nixon's voice.
Nixon's back! Arooga!
Then there's also the fact that you are the main person who's been writing our Hondos.
What can I say? Hondo Ranaka is it's a good character to write. He's basically just space mercenary. Mixed in with mafia.
Which I think the difference between your Hondo and my Hondo is kind of fun, too.
Yeah. I mean, both are planning on running trade networks to Terra, but both of us have different means of them getting more lucrative businesses.
Yeah.
Basically, if you didn't see the Crimson Caravan chapter, ladies and gentlemen, Hondo for Merc's version, Ander, I'm going to let you take over this one.
Basically, we are going to be filthy, stinking rich on Terra. All we need is some moisture farming equipment, some industrial grade water purifiers, and boom! A triple our profits, quadruple our profits, even quintuple our profits. Terra
what-
is a gold mine.
And what is
Yes.
my like?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was a Deep Space Nine clip you just saw after that, because honestly, Ander, I swear to God, you have based him on Quark.
And then now compare Hondo to my Hondo.
We'll be filthy, stinking rich. We'll go in there, profits. Make the drugs. Make the women. And we'll be rich.
One of these things is just like the other, except it's only different.
One of these things is just like the other one just is weird.
Honestly, I can't tell the difference.
That's the thing about Hondo's character that, and Andrew, you know what? I've said I'm the MC in this one, but I'm gonna let you take over when describing Hondo's character and sort of how he's portrayed in many a fan fiction, especially between Crimson and Mercury's versions.
Well, from the numerous, and I mean numerous, Star Wars, the Clone Wars fan fiction I have read, he's often portrayed as just another pirate. Another mercenary just plays both sides. I mean, in all honesty, he embodies Ferengi business acquisition rules number 34 and 35 pretty well. And for those that don't know, Rule 34 is war is good for business, and Rule 35 is peace is good for business. Now, is Hondo in Star Wars a good man? No.
Not
He
most
sees
of the time.
he sees the world as what most people who work in his business do. Shades of gray. Nothing is black and white. Good or evil. To
Let's
him,
face it, Hondo
good.
doesn't even see it in black and white. He sees it as credit or Republic credit or Separatist credit.
Mostly spice.
That's very good. I think you get along with the Portuguese. No offense to our Portuguese listeners.
Or the Spanish.
No, it was the Portuguese that were crazy for spices.
I thought it was also the Spanish.
Nope, they were crazy, and no offense to our Spanish listeners, they were crazy about gold.
Oh, right.
To a fault.
I always get those two confused because of the fact that they're in the same area.
And don't let them hear you say that they're basically the same people. Not a good idea.
It's not that. It's just the fact they were in the same area and both were interested in profits. That was the only thing they have in common.
Basically.
So, the big thing, I think we should move on to the biggest question that has always been asked. How much of the quest line will be done for when they arrive to Earth, basically, in your version, Merc? Like, how much of the quest lines will be done? What will be opened? Are the DLC done? Like, how much of that's going to be open to these people?
Okay, so I had to be very careful with what I chose. And I decided the only thing that is open at this current time, the only thing completed, I should say, is the bare minimum you need to get to Vegas in terms of the direct story. So that is essentially the Ghost Town gunfight. The Prim situation is solved. The Novak situation is essentially solved. They still have issues from Nelson.
And Boulder City has been solved, of course.
Yep, Boulder City has been solved. But Benny has been killed, but after that, everything is paused. The only DLCs, and that is just for the Mojave side. In terms of
Isn't the capital Wasteland takes place 3 years before the events of Vegas?
yes. In terms of the Capital Wasteland, the main quest.
What about Broken Steel?
I'm going to say yes, that has also been completed, and Mothership Zeta, because I needed a reason for certain things.
Right.
But yeah, most of the issues in the Capital Wasteland are not solved.
Such as Point Lookout and the Pit.
Yeah. Which for everyone excited for Point Lookout, Let's just say the Night Sisters have a bit of a claim to that territory.
Honestly, I just can't wait for people to see season two's opener.
Yes.
And now, Crimson, I know I don't know if we have already gone over this before, but what DLC and what story missions have already been completed for your version of the story?
Let's see here. The Lone Wanderer completed the DLCs as well as the main storyline. As well as completed a lot of shit because it's been 3 fucking years.
All right, so basically for your story on the East Coast,
It's done.
well, yeah, almost everything is done. Okay, now what about those in Vegas? What's been done in Vegas?
Well, if you remembered, I did posted a courier chapter.
Oh yeah. All right. Well,
The good news is there is another game.
We're not bringing up this Curse 76.
No, not that one.
I am.
The game before for that, but is technically chronologically after that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Fallout 4.
Yes.
All right. So since we're doing that, I'll ask both of y'all. What in Fallout 4's DLC is done, considering this takes place in 2287, compared to the other two, which takes place in 2277 and 2281, respectively.
For that one, I am not sure.
I'm actually gonna have it start literally when Nate and Nora wakes up.
Okay, so essentially, nothing will have gotten done by the time, well, for Crimson's anyway, nothing will have been done by the time the Star Wars characters arrive.
Yeah,
Mhm.
basically.
Oh
I
boy,
would-
the Brotherhood's going to be in for a rude awakening, especially if
Uh,
we try and quote unquote confiscate that technology from them.
um,
Yeah. Once that occurs, things will be different.
anyways, I do hope that you all notice the whole Nora and Nate. I am taking a book out of Kirk's Fallout 4 rewriting story.
Yeah, Fallout 4 alternate.
Yeah.
I really need to do stuff with that.
And for those of you that don't know, it's essentially where instead of Kellogg doming Nate and or Nora, he completely misses, and instead it's a burn mark across the head where the bullet whizzed by.
Oh, no, that is one minor change. That is one minor. There is a lot of stuff that changed for Fallout 4 alternate.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying why he's taking a page out of your book.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
also
in case y'all do not know, I believe Merc is basically making to where the entire vault survives.
Yeah, basically.
So you
We
have
can
a
discuss
whole.
that later,
Yeah, we can discuss that later. All right, not Merc. Crimson, you.
Crimson.
What was the question? My brain.
what were you going to do involving Fallout 4?
Oh. Well, both me and Merc did had some conversation on how we would change our wasteland a little bit for our stories. I think our favorite one was the Melted City.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
Yeah,
Let's not
let's not go in.
Yeah,
Let's
let's
move
not.
away from Fallout 4 and back
Yeah.
into the events of the story.
Yeah.
So,
So
I'm going to just. Oh, wait, you go ahead, Al.
So one of the things that was actually brought up to us, or brought up to me, really was a friend of mine was reading, was the fact of the two different. When it got to Ulysses and the Divide, Crimson and Merc's versions was drastically different. However, the one thing that was all the same was that general sense of absolute dread and death. However, for Merc, you agreed to the idea I presented to you and executed it perfectly. And for those of you who don't know and you haven't read the story yet, Merc's version, be it the Force or some cosmic being out there, basically Terminator 2 Judgment Day'd those watching.
I think that was me.
No.
No, so with that, I described it as essentially a full body, like, essentially the AIs decided to project the entire sensation the best they could into the entire room.
And and poor Satine had to take the place of Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
Which only opened up a route for her and Obi-Wan's relationship. Which already, and me, Ander, and Crimson have joked with Merc about this, but some people actually want to see, some people have actually said they actually would like to see Obi-Wan and Satine and Bo be a little three-way relationship.
Oh, a
Okay.
throuple?
Agree with that.
A thrall.
Yeah, I'm just going to say
I
that is
blame 911
probably
Lone
going to be a
Star for
no.
that. Oh, come on. Let him be a throuple.
I am
I mean, they're
not afraid to
sisters. They share
throttle you.
everything.
No. Just no.
Yes!
Not happening.
Y'all say Ander no. I say Ander yes.
You're lucky I'm in charge of the plot chapters.
Do not make me throw you in the room with 33035.
Throw me in a room with what?
With SCP.
You know the creature.
With SCP 33005.
Oh,
That is going to be a joke that is not going to be expanded upon.
Good.
I there.
Nope, don't say anything.
Nope.
Nope, we're not going there. Moving on. So, I think the biggest thing for both Crimson and Merc's version is that the build up to find Terra is completely different, or at least the time frame or how it feels like they're going to find Earth is completely different.
Yeah.
And
with Crimson's, it's a race.
Yeah.
And a few cases, just pure luck.
Yeah. For you, on the other hand, it is completely different.
Yeah.
The way yours is set up versus his is that yours is sort of as they watch, they basically unlock achievements. They level up, basically, is my best
Yeah, they unlock
for it.
stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's all the AIs have the same level that is unlocked. That's how they get stuff like a lot of the beneficial chems from Fallout. While in cases such as Milo, the CIS AI, he starts off by giving them the base computer part, like the base computer design, of a Zax supercomputer. Not the code. I need to distinguish that.
And acting kind of Norman Batesy.
Yeah, Milo kind of started as Norman Bates a little bit.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of a joke I did, and the next thing we know, we've got a scene with him walking to the elevator humming Sandman before doing the Norman Bates smile.
Yeah. Of course, Milo. Of course, then we have a few other cases, like everyone getting Pip Boys, except different variants.
Oh yeah, Anakin over here just geeking out on his Pip-Boy, and Padme just immediately dismayed that her husband is showing him a little computer more time than her.
Also, fun fact. Okay, fun thing that if you didn't catch it, Anakin is now constantly enjoying mentats.
Oh yeah,
He's not addicted.
that was actually kind of fun. So for those of you who are wondering how that scene came about, it was kind of me helping correct a few stuff with Merc on that scene, and then finally I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna do it myself. And I did that scene, and I didn't think it would lead anywhere. And yet, Anakin is freaking popping Mentats like they were stress medication.
Which for him it is.
And then Ahsoka over here just... That's the one thing I kind of liked, was the fact of Ahsoka and Anakin's relationship. Unlike Crimson's, yours... It is very much so a father-daughter relationship.
Yeah, it gets emotional.
So, and I know some comments have asked this, or I believe some comments have asked this. We'll get to your comments in a bit, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry, we will. I'm going to ask, will that develop any more in the future? Will we see more of that in the future when Season 2 comes around, or the next plot chapter comes around?
We will see a lot. We will see it develop more. We will also, basically, before Season 2 kicks off, there will be a whopping 5 plot chapters.
Same here.
Just so that we have plenty of forward movement.
Granted, I think another difference between yours and ours is that I will actually be having some plot chapters on Terra because of the certain things that have been happening on Terra.
Yeah, that's kind of the big thing, is that unlike Crimson's, Mercury's is purely on Star Wars and purely speculation of how Terra is doing. Unlike Crimson's, there's...
Where we see hints.
Yeah, we see hints. We see flashes of what's going on with Terra. We see little bits and pieces. For Mercury's, his, so far, in terms of the radio, has been just music, and that's it.
It's been recordings.
Yeah, we haven't really seen... You haven't really done anything in terms of like what Crimson has, where he gave a bit of a news report on his season finale.
Yeah.
Well, not even just the news reports. I've been giving some hints on what's happening on Terra before even the season finale.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the big thing, though, is as the chapters went on, each character started evolving or devolving. But for Palpatine's character in both versions of the story, and of course Krell getting his just desserts because Jesus Christ, that son of a bitch needs to fucking die. Anyway, Ander, you were having fun with that one, with Merc's version in that moment. I could
maybe.
tell. Well, why don't you...
I mean, Krell is the worst Jedi character in Star Wars media.
Yeah.
But no, aside from that, we also got the introduction in Merc's story versus Crimson's of the Night Sisters and the Night Brothers. And we now see some plot development with that. We saw plot development with a few other minor characters that were never really introduced here and there. Merc's story, as I've stated before, when comparing it to my friends, or when comparing it to you, the viewers, my friends, anything, is that Crimson's version is essentially a shotgun colonoscopy of insanity, while Merc's is more subtle and more subversive at times. But that subversiveness actually does get you basically surprised at some of the twists and turns.
Which I think that's actually a very good allegory for us with Fallout. Fallout can be a colonoscopy with a shotgun as well as being subtle.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think we did a really good job in exploring Fallout setting.
We did.
Just 2 different ways.
Yeah. And I think one of the better changes that I think we have both taken elements from each other's thing, with yours being things we will see in Season 2, while we saw some of your influences on my story in Season 1.
Which I'm actually going to be really excited once we get to Season 2, just to see how we mirrored off of each other there.
Yeah.
Which, now we come to, of course, the biggest part of this after party, ladies and gentlemen. And that is, out of all the characters that we have written for, which one has been the most fun for us? And Merc, because you're the author for this one, which of the characters has been the most fun for you to write for?
The most entertaining character I have had fun writing has been essentially all of the AIs, because they are essentially how I play various styles of Fallout.
You
Milo
know what?
very much is my Fallout 4,
Ah,
with Beloma that very much is my evil Fallout New Vegas character, while Ruby Gardner is my good Fallout New Vegas. And Blue, well, that happens to be my Fallout 3 and my chaotic Fallout New Vegas character.
which I gotta say, I 100% agree when you're writing your own AIs and the reaction story. It is so much fun. You actually get the chance to create character growth with an OC character and actually make it fit with the story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Uh,
Ander, aside from Palpatine, because we know you're going to say
and
Palpatine
Hondo.
and Hondo, which of the characters have you had fun writing for?
All of them.
Okay, I'll give you that one because
Whenever we have called upon Andor, he has always done a great character.
That is true.
Mm-hmm. And now we get to Crimson, you psychotic son of a bitch, outside of Ander. What character
Hey!
have you had fun writing for?
Oh, that's a tough one.
I'm not psychotic. I'm crazy. There's a difference.
Honestly, yeah, if anyone's the psychotic one, it's me. Let's see here. That's actually kind of tough because unlike you guys, I didn't write for a lot of characters. Because
True.
you guys had a lot of good ideas when it came to the character reactions, so which one was a good one? I would
Uh,
have to say I really enjoy doing Embo.
yeah, as much as little as he appeared, he was a fun character that you did do good with.
Yeah.
I think
Plus,
you also okay, I'm going to say
Hmm?
this. I think you did a very good Tarkin.
Oh yeah. I love doing that psychopath.
Tarkin is that which I feel like you could have had a lot of fun with in your story.
I He is actually going to be showing up in season 2 because of the whole Republic getting a better hearing
Getting
about.
involved.
Yeah. So Tarkin will be getting involved.
Okay.
But oh boy, once Tarkin gets involved, things are going to get crazy.
Yeah.
I still say we should give him an embarrassing death, not an honorable one.
Oh, I plan on giving him an embarrassing death, but it's going to be gruesome.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
Now, for you, Al, let me guess. It was Merrick.
Oh no, that was mostly me.
Oh,
No. If I had to really choose, and this is a tough one, because it would be between Anakin and, well, Satine, honestly.
oh yeah, you were the one doing Satine for both of our stories for the most part.
But for Mercs, it has to be Anakin, because writing Anakin's character much differently than what yours was went from just a kid who this guy who literally was slowly turning to the dark side, slowly going there, and then having an absolute 180, and now becoming what would essentially be the Star Wars version of Mr. House. Now, a honorable mention. Just saying this is an honorable mention.
Mm-hmm.
Lux, the child of
Mm.
Mina Monteri.
of Mina, thank you, of Mina, is probably one of my favorite ones to write for because it's a child who has that childlike innocence and basically,
He very much did play devil's advocate for most of his appearances.
He did.
yeah, and that is basically because he's a kid. He doesn't understand that. He doesn't know half of it. He's just a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not including, of course, the future characters of who we could bring in season 2, including
Oh, yeah.
Bo-Katan and Satine's nephew, who had
Oh, Corky.
a crush on Ahsoka.
Ahsoka?
Granted,
And-
every guy who meets Ahsoka has a crush on her.
And I'm just saying this now. I cannot confirm whether or not, if they ever meet in the season 2 reactions or the season 2 sections of either story, that overprotective family members will become a thing and may or may not be spied on whenever they go out together.
Excuse me while I scribble some notes.
I can neither confirm nor deny that. Merc, you're technically the author for this story. Can you confirm or deny that Papa Anakin may, along with her uncles in the 501st, may be a little overprotective of Ahsoka?
Okay, so at this current time, they will meet. As
Ooh.
for the overprotectiveness, it is unclear purely because of one factor.
Ooh.
Oh.
Ahsoka is going to be the one that gets another part so that the Republic can find Earth.
Oh.
Oh, yes, that's right. So,
Because I split that thing up into 4 parts, and currently we only have 3 out of the 4 parts.
Oh. Oh, right. You're not right.
I'm being cryptic.
He
Yep.
is being vague as Lutece twins.
Granted, I can understand the Lutece twins better than I can understand you sometimes.
Okay, well, now we get to the part that you guys are watching for, have been watching for. It is time to answer the viewer questions.
Thank you for your patience.
Yes, thank you. Now, on to the questions, Al. They wants it, they needs it, and they're currently poking me in the backside for the questions. Quit poking.
And they're trying to break down my church.
Quit poking. Jesus, where are you getting these sticks?
Andrew,
Merc,
come back to my castle.
Merc, do you have
Hey,
any questions from your story to ask?
Surprisingly, there has not been many questions that I did not answer right away that were not related to that were related to, hey, will this happen with other stories?
Well, it doesn't matter if it's a stupid question. We'll answer it and make a joke about it here on air. So go ahead and hit us with the first one.
Okay, so basically I only have 2 that I found.
Okay,
From the Mad Reaper 96, will this story just be Star Wars characters reacting to the Fallout universe? Or will they react to other universes? I'm just saying this, at this current time, there is no other plans for other reactions other than the Fallout StoryTeller series.
Number 2, do you not read the
The title?
Well, to be fair, I think most people, when they see Star Wars Direct to Storyteller, I think they think that there's going to be more stories like that down the road.
And
Like
they're
after
probably
after they finish with Storyteller, oh, they'll watch Hellsing Abridged. Oh, they'll watch Sabaton videos, or so on and so forth. That's
They
generally
do the
what people
popular
think.
reaction stuff.
Exactly.
They're also probably thinking that after the Fallout storyteller, they're going to go straight to the Elder Scrolls storyteller.
That would be
Yeah.
a different story completely.
Now that
And I
does. Go ahead,
and I
Christian.
did not have the patience for that one.
That does bring up a
I
really interesting idea, honestly.
It does.
Merc, I know you have one reaction story so far under your belt.
Too.
Well, technically, those was that a test chapter technically for you testing out what works, what doesn't?
or wait,
The Fate Elder Scrolls, which we gotta get another chapter ready to go.
that was a test chapter. That just to
Oh,
see just to see if it had any traction,
ah,
which it has a fair amount of traction.
oh,
So the other question I think that should be asked along with that is, do you plan to do another Star Wars reaction story with plot? And if so, to what?
If
ooh.
I do another Star Wars reaction thing, I would have. I am not sure what it would be. I
I
might. This is one that okay. This is an idea that bounced in my head for quite a while. But a Star Wars reacting to World War II, which would essentially be where I get decently length chapters of information about World War II, like the history of the act of like what led up to this, all that stuff, or maybe just a general thing of humanity of Star Wars reacts to Earth's humanity, where we get kind of various highlights, various famous historical people, various myths, and it's probably one or two groups reacting to Star Wars in general.
there's
Reacting
already
in
a start
general.
for that.
Oh,
Yeah,
But it's taking forever to
taking
shit.
do each
ages.
chapter. Yeah. And the
Um,
author of it, which yes, that is Star Wars Reacts to Earth. For those of you who are curiously watching, wondering what the title is going off to boot camp because he has decided to join up in our United States Armed Services. Thank you,
so that's
Merc.
gonna take us a longer time.
Yes, but I respect his decision to defend our country.
So do I. So do I.
Yes.
Um, as for me, for the Star Wars reacting with plot, I got two in mind.
Share it with us.
Okay, so you three know that I happen to be a strong fan of a certain franchise.
Yes, you've made it pretty fucking clear.
And that franchise, for those who do not know, is Warhammer.
Yeah, I got a few things of saying, hey, will this ever react to Warhammer? And I do not have the energy to try and summarize the
I
Horus Heresy.
oh I oh
The
trust me.
only
I
way for
I
either one
sat
of
down and
you.
typed that thing down for 2 hours, and I still hadn't even reached half the page.
oh I can handle that.
So the only way either one of you could actually do that, feasibly, mind you, and Andrew, you can back me up on this if you want, is if you do text to speech.
That what I was thinking of.
Fair enough, that's probably easier, both mentally, both mentally and comedy wise.
And
Maybe a
spiritually.
little bit of text here and there to give a little bit of a bigger insight, but other than that, just
Plus,
mostly text to speech.
plus it gives honor to the great
Prove our
series.
Papusa.
Yeah,
Yes. Also, I'm just gonna say this now. The moment the oiled up strippers show up, every woman in viewing it, be they Mandalorian, be they
I'm
Night
suddenly
Sister,
aroused.
yeah, basically, it's like doesn't matter if you're Jedi, Mandalorian, freaking Sith, or what. You're just gonna look at them and be like, I am strangely aroused by this.
And oh boy, I
now
gotta.
have a burning mental image in my brain. I just need to go to the brain cleansing
Yep.
chamber because
At,
because now I am going to share with you this image of a aroused Palpatine,
oh no.
Emperor Palpatine.
Oh no. But
For plot wise would be kind of interesting when it comes to the text to speech being reacted by Star Wars. That's going to be very interesting in that department. Which
I have
again,
no clue how I would do that.
I would love to come up with some crazy shenanigans for that one. Now, my second idea, and I know for a fact Al is going to love this idea.
Oh, please do tell me.
Star Wars reacts to the Human Covenant War.
Oh, Star Wars reacts to Halo. The fact of there was one that was being made, and then the guy completely fucking abandoned it for no fucking
Oh,
reason.
Yeah.
at least this. Though I will not be doing the gameplay.
Don't worry, there are more than enough fics that you can copy and paste from that have already done that.
Oh, okay. I can just do that while
Yeah,
also
Night
giving
Raid plays
information about
Halo.
the war.
They literally
Oh,
on
did they
fanfiction.net,
completed it?
which huh?
Did they completed it?
They did all the way up to Halo 3, my guy.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Anyway.
Um, but, but yeah, that would also be an idea.
Mm-hmm.
So,
The only other thing I can think of that would actually be kind of interesting in terms of, oh dear God, this would be a horrifying idea, would be Star Wars reacts to Starship Troopers Roughneck Chronicles. Now you're hearing that. Roughneck Chronicles is completely different from the TV show, or from the movie. And the fact of it follows more of a campaign of different campaigns fighting the arachnids than the movie, which was purely fucking propaganda.
Hmm.
Anyway, but no. So Merc, continue on with the next question.
Okay, the other wait, the other question by Blood Moon 408 was, will you continue their reactions to the Storyteller series, or are you going a separate way? They are going to watch the entire Storyteller series, and they will be interacting with the series later on. That is all I am saying.
And what he means by that is they're only watching the Fallout series. They're not going to be watching the Elder Scrolls Storyteller. Just the Fallout.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shoddycast, great channel. Don't know what happened to them.
They
Well,
got
I
yes,
guess
such a
just
new
issues.
owner.
Yeah, issues. And, well, basically all the content, all the content just decided to die.
Well, not really. Either
well,
way,
it's
though,
still
the less we,
active.
yeah. Anyway,
Great shame.
so
Great
aside
channel
from
lost.
Mhm.
aside from that, though, so I will say that the only other questions I have on my end is two as well. The first one being, of course, and this is coming from Crimson's. Obviously, they've read
Oh,
Crimson's. Much like with Crimson Weresloff, who has introduced the Shadow, will you have chapters of either the characters reacting to radio dramas or radio dramas comics influencing the characters?
Hey, so that is actually an interesting idea, because we have already seen that, hey, the Fallout universe has influenced these characters in some way. So,
The Lone Ranger kind of
yeah,
has had an
well,
impact on the
the Rangers in general.
yeah.
But I believe that there is a very, very unlikely chance of anything on the level of, hey, we'll have the Silver Shroud appearing in the Star Wars universe.
to be fair, the Silver Shroud in my story is actually a Star Wars citizen who took up the moniker.
Of the Shadow.
As for the Shadow, I think maybe I'll look into see if there's any Fallout themed radio dramas.
Oh no, the Shadow is actually.
I know what the Shadow
Yeah, I
is.
was about to say, you son of a bitch.
I know it is a partial inspiration of Batman.
Yeah, I was about to say. They had a fucking lawsuit over that. Either way, though.
You have
So
two
these.
lawsuits, one being Batman, one being the Crimson Avenger.
Anyway. So moving on to the second question, the which will be the last question before we give our final thoughts on how we believe the story turned out before ending this, ladies and gentlemen. And you're gonna love this one, Merc.
Hmm.
When they get to Terra, how many characters are going to stay, and will Terra become its own space faction?
Oh.
Okay, so if you want to have some idea, I do have a list. The list of people who are staying who are going to Earth, I'm just going to say this, currently is Padme and Bale. They are two characters who are going to Earth from the Senate. With the Jedi, we are going to see Mace Windu, Varys, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Ahsoka, Quinlan Vos Shakti and Luminara.
For obvious reasons.
Yep. And we might have a few others who are going to be added later on.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's going to be a few cases of there's going to be quite a few clone characters showing up due to the 501st Legion.
Mm-hmm.
But for the CIS, it is going to be essentially is going to be Ventress, Savage, Mina.
And her son, Lux. How he is there, well, you're just
I
gonna have to
was
wait to find out.
yeah. As for the Mandos, well, we have Bo-Katan and Vizsla going, and about 1,000 other Mandalorian Rangers, including everyone's favorite weird power couple.
Oh yes, that poor small Mandalorian. I'll say this now: people have been actually liking that power couple, and that is one thing I want to kind of touch on. Is that I think we did really good with that power couple, but at the same time, I think we unleashed more than a few.
We opened a entire thing.
We opened up
We
a
op-
degenerate Pandora's box.
hey, at least he did get his chance.
Yeah, yeah, he did.
We also I also do greatly enjoy the fact that we decided to have a ethics committee appear and people are making SCP jokes and red versus blue jokes.
Which, for everyone who has been asking, who inspired this ethics committee, with, of course, Chuchi as the chairwoman of the ethics committee. It's red versus blue.
Yeah.
It was red versus blue.
Because I'm sorry, when it comes down to when it comes down to a chairperson and a director going back and forth, just slowly escalating between the two, red versus blue.
Yeah.
This will be one of the biggest comedic parts.
Besides the fact that Chuchi happened to write what we essentially made the joke of, she wrote enough that she could fill a Venator.
She wrote enough
Which is
With
terrifying.
regulations to fill up a Venator's class Star Destroyer.
all thanks to Big Mountain.
Big Mountain and the aliens. Or the Zetans.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was about to say we're not in the Pius Deus religion here.
But yeah, no, ladies and gentlemen. With that, we come to, of course, our thoughts and how we feel about Merck's version of Star Wars Storyteller. Ander, what do you think?
Mm-hmm. Mm. Oof. It'd be interesting, all right.
What was your favorite? What was your favorite element?
You mean besides writing for
Palpatine.
yeah, for Palpatine and Hondo?
The elements that you had no control over. Which was your favorite?
Oh, that's a tough question because, in all honesty, I liked all of it.
Okay,
Okay, that leads to
can
an
come back to
interesting
you.
question. What is your least favorite?
Yeah, what was the thing that you? What is your criticism?
My criticism?
Yeah, what was the one
Yeah.
thing that you believe you could have improved on if you could improve upon it?
Making Palpatine a more manipulative bastard than ever.
Ah.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Crimson, what was your favorite element?
Let's see here. My favorite element was. Oh, shit. I actually did like the fact that you were expanding the plot per chapter compared to what I did, where I basically forced the characters to stay there for 7 chapters and then
And then actually
continue
move
on.
and then move
Yeah,
along.
yeah, I think I'm going to be changing that for season 2. I still can't believe none of your characters actually called the bluff.
For what?
The AIs were bluffing.
Hmm.
I mean, yours were. Who's to say his
Yeah.
weren't?
Yeah.
No, I meant the whole self-destruction.
Oh no, that's it. That's actually a thing.
Oh,
Yeah, again, 2 different versions, my guy.
They cannot just sit and play through everything. They have timers. It sometimes is contradictory because sometimes it's just, hey, I need to rest, so Milo sets a timer. Sometimes he adds a few hours, sometimes he takes off a few hours.
Mm-hmm.
hmm. Um,
But he sets the required amount in private.
ah, um, the now for my criticism, I will say, mm, I would say that you put a little too much focus on the Mandos and not so much focus on the Republic.
Fair enough. That was mostly a thing with working with others and
Yeah, I feel
establishing
you.
the Mandalorian Rangers.
I feel you. I feel you there.
Al did like the Mandalorian Rangers, and
I'm well aware. That's why I was in charge of the plot chapters without these two nagging on me.
fair enough.
As for me, I really enjoyed the fact of the story really found its own, and the universe really did change for the better, or at least for it definitely changed in a way that would make sense,
Yeah,
in my opinion. For if you introduced Fallout elements into Star Wars and you were introducing them to this world and basically a lot of other stuff, the ethics committee, the way the war would change, a lot of it. As for what
a lot of
as for what I could do better, and this is just a personal thing when writing with Merc, I even Crimson, I would try and work a little bit more in expanding my character development, or at least expanding the characters I'm on. Like with Anakin, I could have done better with making him a little bit more deeper. I could have done better with him, with the Mandalorians characters, making that better. The clones, anyone I've ever been attached to, I could have done a little better for them and done a little bit more research into them, and maybe add that into the character development. Again, it's just I wish I could have done a little more with the time given when writing these because that's how it is.
Yeah.
But overall, I think the story turned out amazing. And the short amount of time we had writing it, because good God, we actually knocked this one out before the new year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the fact that we got season one done for both of our series, and I should point this out. See, my story, which was before Merc's story even came out, was during mid or no, wait, it was in March. Holy shit!
Yeah, mine was pushed out in 6 months.
Yeah.
So, yeah, guys, that should give you an understanding of how well oiled we are as a team.
Oh yeah. I'm not doubting anything on that department. We work really well with each other.
We do.
So, I think finally we come to you, Merc.
What was your highest points and what was your lowest points in your storyline? The story.
Okay. So my high points. I am just saying this. I feel like everything came together well, and I am thankfully moving away from trying to put too many events into one chapter, which that has always been an issue with me in my previous writings. I've also thankfully been able to slow myself down and write longer things.
Oh yeah.
That is something that we've definitely seen you improve with, is you slowing down and actually taking your time with each chapter.
For my low point, it definitely would have to be the stuff with the movies. I feel like
Yeah.
I could have done better. Like, I like a lot of the movie concepts, but now I set up the thing of, okay, the Jedi definitely are going to try and find some of these movies and it's going to be played. So, so now,
I forgot.
so
Were these pre-war movies
these
or?
were post-war. These were made by NCR. Because I have set up a lot, because with the movies, heck, a few of them, especially with things such as the Bitter Springs event, I have set up a lot of precedent of, hey, that's they will be looking into this. So I have set up something. I have set up a high bar to reach, and I have to work very carefully to make sure I reach that bar.
And I say that's a good thing to reach for.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we have set many bars. It's just I feel like some are higher and more difficult than others.
And that's not a bad thing to do. It definitely is a good idea to set yourself a goal to reach for. And I honestly think you have hit a lot of those goals when writing this. And I'm not just saying that as someone who reviews fan fictions. No, I'm saying this as someone who has worked with you on this.
And a few other projects.
Yeah, most definitely. Which, yes, folks, so I will we will be doing after parties for points where Merc believes he has done with those projects, but that is neither here nor there. So
Yeah.
Should I
If
buy some death sticks?
no, those things fuck you up.
Good to know.
And just for some shameless self-plugging and a little bit of thing of, hey, I was told by Al that he is going to review Star Warhammer. I am doing a full rewrite of that bitch.
Ooh.
That is 100 chapters I am going back through. I am going to be deleting some, changing the order around. It is going to be It is going to be a mission. I thankfully am going to have a good little. I'm going to be working in blocks here of 20 chapters. So please go to. So please leave questions that you want me to answer.
I did forgot. Was that the one with the Great Crusade or that the
I
post
have removed
heresy?
Legion War, so it is just the post heresy.
Ah. Gotcha.
It is a Star Wars Warhammer crossover book that I am making different from a lot of the ones that I see.
Hmm. Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Gate Wasteland has finished the Big Mountain Saga.
Which I will
Hooray!
be covering, ladies and gentlemen, so do look forward to that.
That story's also changed for the better, I believe.
It has, and again, I've definitely been enjoying it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, outside of that, ladies and gentlemen, that is everything we wanted to talk about for this after party. Merc, Crimson, Andrew, unless you guys got anything you want to add?
Nope, I'm perfectly fine.
I'm good.
Please, if you have questions directed towards my stories,
Yeah, please
please
do that.
ask them. Leave them in the story. Message me.
Message the fucking writer, for
Seriously.
God's sake.
Yes.
Seriously, message him. I'm tired of not seeing any questions on his stories.
I get it, I'm a YouTuber, and a lot of you think that will be quicker for me to get to him because a lot of you assume that because I closely work with him and he's always busy. He's not always busy. He is literally able to answer your comments, questions, what have you. Please comment on his stories. Literally, Wattpad works on the YouTube algorithm. Interaction helps make them be seen.
Would be very helpful for all of us.
Oh yes, most fucking definitely.
The amount of times that I have been asked that Al has been asked questions directed to me is starting to become bothersome and is starting to make me feel bad for him.
You now understand how I felt during the first after party.
Anyway, aside from that bit of awkwardness,
I apologize.
do you have a release date for season 2, Mark?
I'm going to say the earliest I am planning to try and make a release date will be February,
Fair enough.
because that will give me plenty of time to work on other projects and give me plenty of ideas.
Fair enough.
It is at the latest is March.
Don't
So
worry,
sometime
you'll
in
have
February.
the script.
Yeah.
Alright.
Which, if you don't know, I have a script of StoryTeller that I share with Merc. Make things a lot more smoother for us.
Yeah.
Alrighty then. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for watching. As always, I've been AirsoftAL. Thank you for coming to this after party and showing so much support and love for Merc here, for Crimson, be they any of their version of Star Wars Storyteller or just their reaction stories in general, especially especially Crimson's with a rose over a shallow grave.
Hmm.
I've got nothing else to say, ladies and gentlemen, outside of you like the content that I produce here on YouTube. Consider donating to the PayPal down below. And if you want to read this story yourself, because this is the first time you're hearing it, then there is a link down below, of course, in the pinned comment to this fanfiction. Outside of that, gentlemen, do you have anything else you want to say before we end this video here?
No, I'm fine.
I am the Shadow Trooper, also known as Merc. You can find me on Wattpad. Also, Shadow Trooper 2 is my other account. I don't post anything there, but there is content for those who are of devious minds.
Who are degenerates?
Yes.
Yeah, just call them degenerates. That's what they are.
No, they're men of
I try to be
culture.
classy. I try to be
There,
classy.
Yes, they are
there's
men
a
of
difference.
culture.
Well, there is something I want to say before we sign off. If in case y'all are interested, I have my own Wattpad account at Fallout Fan 158, where I have a story posted. If you want to check out my story, go there and take a look at it. It's called A New Hope. It's an Attack on Titan story, and, well, not going to give it away, but I hope y'all go and read it. And leave some questions, please. I've not gotten any comments on it, so please, leave questions, please.
Give the man some love.
Yeah,
Please!
show this
I'm
guy
begging
some
here.
love. Show this guy some love, ladies and gentlemen.
Calm down, boy.
Anyway, so outside of that, folks, as always, I've been AirsoftAL, the common man's airsofter, common man's reader, YouTuber, what have you, who reviews guns, gear, and fan fiction, and media in general.
I've been Anderfell.
I have been Merc.
And I have been Crimson Wearsoft. And why do I hear copyright-free music?
And as always, ladies and gentlemen, I shall see all of you lovely, lovely people in the new year. For at the time of this video going up, it will either be before the week of Christmas or of the week of Christmas. And so I say to thee, Merry Christmas, and to my Jewish family and my fellow Jewish viewers, Happy Hanukkah. And to everyone else, here's
Happy holidays.
here's the Festivus for the rest of us. And to those who don't believe in the holidays, go fuck yourselves.